Welcome to episode 29 of Timm Talk, the podcast about the DC animated universe co-created by Bruce Timm. I'm Chris Lord.
I'm Cameron Dexter.
And we got some double Penguin this week. We're kind of mixing things up. So we're doing episode 55.
I thought you were going to write this down.
I think it's 55 and 59.
Not to throw you under the bus or anything.
No, it's fine. I fully respect you throwing me under the bus. I deserve it. I'm usually throwing you under the bus.
Yeah. Well, if anyone has looked at the list of Batman episodes, we have a bunch of doubles coming up. And then the episode that we were supposed to talk about this time, we have a guest coming on next week.
Yes.
We're really excited to talk about Harley and Ivy.
Boom. Okay, right. So this is episode, 55, The Mechanic, and 59, Blind as a Bat, because 56, Harley and Ivy, we have a guest for. And then, basically we have, I think it's 2 or 3 two-parts back-to-back.
Yeah,
so
we have
work
the
out.
Batgirl one, and then we have Ra's
Al
and
Ghul.
then something else. Then Hardak comes back eventually.
This fucking Google Docs is being a piece of shit. Yes. Okay, yeah. Just two-part things. So, but it all balances out. So weird order, but it'll work. And coincidentally, it gave us 2 episodes with the Penguin.
Yeah.
Which is good, because we haven't had that much Penguin.
We haven't. I still don't feel like we've had a great Penguin episode.
Oh, I would concur.
Did you? So you're the car person. Do we?
Yeah.
Before we jump into this, was there any DC news that you wanted to talk about?
I feel like there was.
We usually discuss this beforehand. And
Yeah.
we didn't this time because we always come prepared.
Today we're extra unprepared.
There was a photo tweeted out this morning.
Oh, the new trailer. The new Justice League trailer came out.
Oh, right. That's kind of some news that we should talk about.
Terrible.
I mean, Zack Snyder is good at trailers. I enjoyed the trailer.
You know, I normally think he is good at trailers. I had no interest. I'm watching this thing and I'm like, okay, it's just a whole bunch of like CGI heavy scenes of them killing what I'm assuming are going to be parademons. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching this. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, because this movie completely lacks a charismatic or interesting villain. Considering, I think it's Steppenwolf.
It's not Darkseid?
No, it's not even Darkseid yet.
Right.
It's one of Darkseid's emissaries, I think, in the form of Steppenwolf, which I think he's played by Kieran Hines, who I generally do enjoy. He was the leader of the wildlings in Game of Thrones.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I like him.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, I like him a lot, but I'm like, part of the reasons the Avengers worked was because Loki was such a great villain. You felt like there was actually a real reason for these people to team up together. Mm-hmm. And you're watching this, I'm just like... Are
they trying to turn Darkseid into Thanos, where he's going to be like this overarching villain for the next 2 movies before they have to reset?
I think... Oh, God, right? I think they're saving him for the second Justice League movie. So I think they went in with the intention of having it be more clearly a part 1 and part 2. And I think that they might have modified that. The rumors they've modified it, so this one kind of wraps up, sort of, with threads going on, and then the next one pick up with Darkseid. But in short, yes.
All right.
They're just...
That's fine, I guess.
Yeah. I don't... You can just see the complete lack of planning on this. Because, the one thing that DC's always had over Marvel is villains. And so then... But they even fucked that up. Because they're like, oh, let's just do a terrible Suicide Squad movie rather than maybe, have, an Injustice sort of thing going on. Or, I guess more... Avengers kind of did Alien Invasion, so you can't just redo, what the Justice League premiere was.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, we'll end up watching it,
right,
for this.
You know what I was hoping we would see is that sweet Superman mullet.
Oh, mullet for Superman.
If they gotta follow that storyline, and if they don't, I will write a complaint.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get Super Mullet. I'm sorry.
I want Super Mullet so badly.
No,
the all black suit with the gold, with the silver emblem.
We'll get the black suit. I don't think we're gonna get Super Mullet.
Oh, that's a shame.
I know, because that mullet would be indestructible.
Yeah.
It's fine. Just go watch some Kim Possible, some Motorhead. You'll get your mullet fixed.
I watched that this morning.
You did?
I forgot. Not Motorhead.
Okay.
I forgot. So the drama was on Hulu, and so I woke up early before my kickball game, and I'm like, you know what I should do for the next hour and a half is relive some nice memories.
Cameron, I love that you don't have an inner child. You just live. You just live. You are the inner child.
As people tell me, I've been 7 for the past 18 years now.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah. After that, once you hit 8, it's pretty much downhill.
Yeah, it's all downhill from there. Yeah, but
7 was the year.
We loved you for it though.
Yeah,
but I think that's the only real DC news at this point.
There was
new shitty trailer.
There was a photo tweeted out this morning. I meant to send it to you. I don't think it's real.
Oh no, it is real.
It is Harley riding in the Batmobile with
because they're doing a direct-to-DC movie, Harley and Batman.
Yes,
and yeah, I think that it is a real image from it. Yeah, that's right. I actually made a note to tweet that out of the account. Yeah, it's Harley in the backseat of the Batmobile with Batman and Nightwing in the front, and it's basically the style from the Timmverse.
Yeah.
So I think the question becomes at this point: is it set in the same Timmverse, or is it just that style? We don't know yet.
I already forgot. Is Killing Joke wasn't in the Timmverse style, was it?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No, I don't. I think the last thing that was done in the Timmverse style was Darwin Cook did a Batman Beyond short for, I want to say, Batman's 75th anniversary, where it was like Bruce and Terry fighting robots that were the various incarnations of previous Batman. So they had like Adam West and Michael Keaton and like Christian Bale, like all kind of done in that style as robots. It's a cool little short.
Okay,
like, we'll
I don't
probably,
remember that.
Yeah, it's cool.
Cool.
We'll cover it, I think, when we get to Batman Beyond properly. But I am excited for whatever that Harley and Batman movie is.
Yeah, it looks really interesting.
It's got Nightwing in it, so I'm already happy.
Right. Who do you think is going to voice him? I think go back to the original.
Maybe they might go back to Lauren Lester. It depends. I mean, I imagine they'll probably get Kevin Conroy and Arlene Sorkin to come back to the voices, right? So
yeah, I
don't know.
I loved having Neil Patrick Harris do the voice in Under Red Hood. I'd love for him to come back.
Oh, Under Red Hood, it's so good.
I know.
We'll just do an episode on that one day.
Once we get closer to the end, we can start getting to those movies.
Filler episodes.
Right.
Yeah. But I think that's pretty much all the news.
Mm-hmm.
So you cut yourself off, kind of. You're going to ask me, I'm the car guy here. So
so the mechanic, you're the car guy. I didn't understand anything that happened in this episode. Did anything they say make sense to real car talk?
Sort of. I mean, the daughter was talking about how the drivetrain got fucked up, which would make sense given that it got kind of crushed by a bridge. So the drivetrain is basically the mechanical system that connects the engines to the wheels.
Got it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like basically the engine powers. It doesn't matter.
No, I got it. It's in a toy car. It's I got it.
Okay. Yeah. So so some things made sense. Pretty much any time though that what's the mechanic's name? Starts with an E. I can always look it up because I have it on my computer right here. Earl.
Earl.
Every time that Earl...
Two chances.
Yeah, right.
Ed and Earl.
Every time that Earl starts talking about, it's got titanium this and double thruster this, and it's like
triple turbo, whatever.
None of those make any sense.
All right.
Mechanically speaking. So I'd say that there's a good mix. There's a mixture of things that actually make sense and things that don't.
All right.
At all.
Because coming from a background with zero car knowledge, I just accept all of these are true.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy to have someone that can tell me, no, this is bullshit.
I'd say about half of it. About half of it is kind of bullshit.
Okay.
I mean, but it's like every other thing they do in this. As soon as they get some sort of technical jargon, like what we'll see in Blind as a Bat 2, they start talking about the helicopter, and you're just like, none of this makes any goddamn sense. They're just throwing words.
Yeah.
Until it just splatters. Yeah. So I mean, I was excited to watch this episode. I hadn't seen it in a long time because it's basically part of the plot of Batman Returns, right, where the Penguin takes over the Batmobile.
Yeah, that 10-minute scene in the movie turned into a 20-minute episode.
Doesn't quite work.
It wasn't great.
I mean, there are a lot of things that I did like about it. Mm-hmm. I really liked the very opening scene when there's the car chase between Batman and Robin and the Penguin's henchman that. The guy is just unloading a full drum clip on the Batmobile, and Robin's just sitting in the car going really? Is he kidding?
These guys must be new. Yeah. I loved that line.
Yeah, that was a great exchange. He's like, it's the fucking Batmobile. You really think you're going to do anything to it with just a machine gun? So they're chasing the Penguin, and they get to the bridge. The
stupidest I'm angry whoever thought of this bridge design or whatever architect decided to build this in this fictional universe. because there are so many things wrong with this.
With the bridge that lifts, the section lifts up in the middle.
Is that real?
Those are real.
That's horrible.
No, I mean,
as we've seen in this episode, there's so many things that could go wrong. People could just drive off the end.
Yeah. No, like those are real. I mean, the same way that the like the split bridge.
Yeah,
which, like
I've seen those.
Yeah, both those things are real. I assumed we were going to get a split bridge here. I didn't realize we were going to get a middle section raising up. But no, those are
going
real.
to crunch the Batmobile.
Yeah. If anything, I actually think that the split bridges might be more common. Or no, sorry,
Really?
the raised bridges might be more common than the split bridges. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, but no, those are real things.
What takes less energy, lifting or? Is lifting one heavier section?
Well, it's like two.
Do your engineer talk.
You need like You need a counterweight on the ones that just kind of go straight up. I mean, it's like you kind of rotate around a hinge on two sides, or you just go straight up. Imagine the middle section of the bridge is basically a giant elevator.
Yeah.
Right. So it's basically kind of
Yeah.
It's basically the same thing.
I think it's stupid.
Okay. Well, I mean, its use here is kind of stupid because so they're chasing the Penguin's limousine on this bridge, and so the guy driving just drives off and lands on a barge
That also is owned by the Penguin.
That's okay. I was going to ask you. I was super confused on that because like the back of the boat said Auckland, which is a city in New Zealand, but then there was a penguin on the top of the smokestack, right?
Yeah.
There's a painted penguin on it.
There was something on there that definitely hinted that it was the Penguin's boat.
Yeah. So I guess that was their plan all along. I was really confused by that. Like I thought it was just like they lucked out.
So did I.
I thought maybe we'll see that boat as confirmation. I kind of feel like what happened is they just wrote it that way, and they're like, well, this doesn't quite make sense. So I guess slap a penguin on it, and then that'll give justification
it makes sense
for it. I don't know. It was kind of weird. I don't get it. But so they do escape, and when the bridge comes back down, it just smashes the front end of the Batmobile. Now, what doesn't make sense is the Batmobile gets pinned between the two decks of the bridge. Mm-hmm. So really what should have happened is like it basically should have just sheared the front of the car off.
Yeah.
And like left it like this weird awkward angle, but instead it just like got smushed.
Yeah, they just squished it. I guess so they could still drive it.
I guess.
Because they needed to drive it to the repair shop.
Drive it back to Earl's shop, buried down in the bottom of this warehouse. That whole like the whole idea there of him having like a dedicated mechanic kind of stashed away, that is kind of cool. Like there seems like some pretty obvious holes there. Mm-hmm. Like it's also kind of proof that Batman has a fuckload of money, right?
Yeah.
Which, if you were to stop and think about it for a little bit, kind of obvious who Batman is,
right?
But I guess we're just running with the assumption that people don't think about that.
Earl, Batman kind of has him in like witness protection almost, because when we get his backstory, he worked for some big motor company that I forgot to write down.
Yeah, it's General Motors basically. It's something else, but yeah.
And he found a big flaw in their new car they were rolling out.
Brakes.
Yeah, the brakes wouldn't work sometimes. And then the higher ups were like, well, the lawyer said it's not our fault. And then he's like, well, I'm going to take this public. And so he quit. And then the higher ups sent goons after him, because that's what you do in this world. If people don't stop talking, you just have goons on hand at all times.
Gotta go rough up the whistleblower.
Yeah. Batman saves him, and then later comes by and is like, hey, you're a car guy. Can you make my car better?
Yeah.
Side note, did you notice what car he drove in the flashback?
I mean, he was driving like an old school style Batmobile.
That was the original Batmobile.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, in the comics, he didn't have a Batmobile. He just drove like a car.
Like a red convertible. Yeah.
Yeah. He had. It was the first Batmobile from 1941.
What?
Yeah.
Looking this up.
There's a cool little graph I should have sent you of all of the Batmobiles through the ages. But that was the only one that had like the actual like
the face, like the battering.
Also, kind of looks like a squirrel battering. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, okay, because the first Batmobile, was the red convertible. Mm-hmm.
I saw two dates with this style. It was either 1941 or 1944.
I think it might have been 44, because let's see, because 40... Okay, well, I'm trying to look at like an old website that's not super helpful on this. Oh, okay, yeah, like this one from like Batman number 5, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's like an old 1930s, like sloped back saloon with a big wing in the back and the bat emblem, batting ram in the front. It's a cool design. I also think it was the same style of car that Earl was whistleblowing on. It looked really similar because like they showed a sketch of.
Oh, I didn't make that comparison.
I don't know if it really was or not. That's the way it looked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I liked they kind of brought that in there a little bit. And I guess I had a little thing where I'm like, well, this doesn't line up with Mask of the Phantasm because Bruce sees like the car that looks just like his Batmobile. But
right.
in this, it explains that Earl designed it himself. But maybe Bruce could have offered like some suggestions there. I don't know.
That's fine. I mean, those flashback continuities aren't great.
No, they're not. Yeah. And okay, was it just me or did this episode also just really shitty animation on it?
So
I figured you
happy you brought that up.
Yeah.
This is ACOM's last episode.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were fired months before this.
How many times did they get fired on this show?
Well, just once, but I feel like they had to finish their contract.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Because I feel like we read about ACOM being gone, and then we had so many ACOM episodes since then.
This is the final ACOM episode, so no longer will you have to hear us complain about ACOM.
Because it's really bad. I mean, you compare it just to Blind as a Bat, and the animation on that is so much sharper. And it's so obvious, too, because it's the same characters. I mean, it's the Penguin and all of his henchmen again. Like, they look so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Horrible animation in this.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are some cool things though. Like I liked that the Penguin's lair. He's got the duck just like in Batman Returns, the big yellow duck.
Yep.
Okay. Also, did he kill that guy?
I believe so.
Yeah. So because what happens is basically there's a guy who works for a custom car parts distributor in essence, and he starts to notice that they're getting these very specific, very expensive orders. And his theory is the only car that could actually have these sort of things is the Batmobile. And he's kind of got dates based on like incidences to support it. So they're able to trace to Earl, and they go there, and then they sabotage the Batmobile. But after this guy tells the Penguin writes him a check for like, $400,000, puts him in his little penguin boat, and then lets it go down a whirlpool in the sewer. And he says, like, he makes a comment like, oh, you're going for like an ocean cruise. But clearly that guy had to die.
Yeah. Because
the Penguin had no intention of paying him that money, and he couldn't leave any loose threads.
I interpret it as the same from Futurama, where the sewer drain in the sewer leads
goes to the mutants below.
No, because that's the first level of sewer.
Oh, that's right. And there's the big toilet.
The big toilet that leads to the secondary sewer, which no one comes back from.
No one comes. Yeah, it kind of. For some reason, this episode, maybe it was this particular, like, quote-unquote death, really kind of bothered me. But do you think that the whole universe loses its stakes if you know no one's going to die?
I mean, knowing it's a kid's cartoon, not really.
I guess what kind of bothers me is they had these moments where characters intend to kill people, but no one can die.
Yeah.
I guess that's what kind of does it for me, right? Like even this, like it's kind of implied that you could infer the guy survives and just gets like cast out to sea or whatever. Mm-hmm. Most likely he died, but or even when they kidnap Earl's daughter, like we know she's not going to die because she's the captive or whatever. But at the same time, it's like no one ever, even the bad guys, no one's ever going to die despite these kind of threats. And maybe it's just because later on the series are okay with that. You get like Justice League and characters die and Batman Beyond and stuff. Like there's actual real stakes.
Yeah.
But I'm watching this and I'm just like, it feels like everything kind of gets undercut on some level. Like it loses some tension.
I feel like where I'm at right now in my life, I'm not the right person to ask because I did just watch 14 days of Power Rangers.
Oh my God. How are you after doing 14 days of Power Rangers?
I'm doing pretty well. Got my morpher on me.
But you have a morpher?
Great. I did back home.
You didn't?
No, I didn't ask my mom to ship me my morpher.
You didn't bring it with you when you moved to LA?
No.
You can get like the new nice ones now.
Yeah, the original Mighty Morphin.
Yeah, they have like
remade them.
Yeah, they have like new diecast versions. Because I got some of the stuff from my brother.
I mean, I never growing up. I only had one because my mom would go through flip phones so often that I would just like use her old flip phone as my morpher.
That's pretty awesome.
And I was also growing up. I was much bigger into like Digimon, and so I had the Digimon.
Oh, okay.
Like, what do they call them?
I don't know.
How dare you not know?
I've never watched an episode of Digimon in my entire life.
Oh, it's great.
Actually, as you were talking about Digimon, my head was thinking Yu-Gi-Oh, and I had to stop and correct myself.
I mean, they're both cartoons.
Yes, this is true.
Whatever. I'm going on a tangent that doesn't need to be going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, quick summary: the Penguin goes to Earl's shop, kidnaps the daughter, kind of tampers with the Batmobile so he can control it with remote control. Batman comes back to pick it up. Earl gives him a very encrypted message, which kind of shame on the world's greatest detective for not
figuring it out. Yeah, because he's like, she had to go do some work down in the basement. And then he's like, and I fixed the air conditioning switch. Batman's like,
okay, thanks. You're acting
Earl.
weird. Something must be up, but probably not.
Yeah. And he doesn't figure it out until they're chasing the Penguin, and all of a sudden it's like, I'm not driving this car anymore. It's like, oh, right. Mm-hmm. No, it's even further beyond that.
Yeah.
They're at the airport.
They make it to the airport up. So Penguin gets control of the car. They drive him through an airfield and then up kind of on top of a parking structure.
Yeah.
Where he's going to have him be thrown off the edge of the parking structure, which is dumb because he already had him heading straight for a brick wall.
Yeah.
And decided to turn because he's whatever.
Yeah,
because it's a kid's show.
Yeah.
So they're going off the edge and they realize going down in the basement.
It's a racing term for
crashing.
For crashing or for being in trouble? I don't remember.
I don't watch racing.
Yeah, I don't either.
And so,
but then he knows that if he presses the air conditioning switch, which is the same like triangular button he always presses.
Yeah. Well, what this scene reminded me of, because Penguin also had him like rewire all of the controls, so pressing one button would make something else happen.
Oh yeah.
Which reminded me of that scene from, do you remember Big Fat Liar? Frankie Muniz and Amanda Bynes and
Paul Giamatti. I never saw it.
Did you? Oh man, it's great.
Is it?
It is. That one's actually a fun movie.
Okay.
Because I mean, maybe not for you because you've always been in California, but as
I thought you were going to say maybe not for you because you have a giant stick up your ass about movies.
No, but for like someone who never had been to California before, had never known the other side of the movie world, it was kind of a cool because they basically Frankie Muniz and Amanda Bynes traveled to LA and hide out in like a prop shop at Universal Studios, which is why when you go on the Universal Studios studio tour, they have the scene from Big Fat Liar because they're basically on the set for the entire movie.
Do they have that?
Yeah, when they're going through the weather and it's like the flash flood warning and the rain falls and then the water comes down.
Yeah.
In the like Spanish town.
Yeah, was that
scene? That is a scene straight from the movie.
Oh, okay.
Which is why I always clap afterwards.
Of course.
Of the like 6 times I've been on that studio tour.
It's a good studio tour.
It's fun. Yeah.
It's the only thing worth seeing at Universal Studios.
Harry Potter Land.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, the rides suck though.
You get sick, which is weird because I'm the one that always gets sick.
Yeah.
I enjoy that ride.
I hate that ride. I'll try it again at some point.
I haven't been on the Hippogriff one yet.
It's like a tiny little kid's roller coaster. It's like, what's the point?
There's always a point.
No. But okay.
So tangent's done.
Yeah. But okay, yeah. So they are able to parachute out of the Batmobile before it crashes and explodes. Because of course it's going to explode. And then they catch up the limousine and they save the daughter, and they basically Earl was going to rebuild the Batmobile brand new, and they're going to move shop and stuff, and it's all good. And one thing that I found interesting about this, and I mentioned this to you a couple minutes ago, was that one of Penguin's henchmen is called Carmine Falcone.
Oh yeah,
which is really interesting that they chose to do that. Now, admittedly, there's kind of like a thing going on with the henchmen names because it's like. Carmine Falcone and one of the other henchmen has like another bird-themed name. Oh, Eagleton, right? So like they all have. Maybe that's why they just picked it. Maybe they're just kind of going for bird pun henchman names, and they decided to go for Falcone. It's just a weird choice.
Yeah,
because I mean, even at that point, Falcone was still a known character. I mean, he was in Year One, which is out in '87, which is before this, but this was before Long Halloween, where he's pretty major, and obviously it was before Batman Begins. But I don't know. That was a really weird decision, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting they included him. But I don't know. Maybe they were trying to do a storyline that never came to life.
I feel like it must have been thrown in there as like a reference.
Just for the fans or something like that.
I mean, no one ever actually called... one character kind of says it in passing. Like, so the guy who works for the auto parts, he mentions Falcone. I'm like, wait, did you say Falcone? And so I looked it up, and sure enough.
Wait, was he the one that picked up the phone and said, "That's all, folks"? Or was that a different henchman?
Oh, I don't know. I couldn't tell them apart.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe?
Way to be henchman racist.
Yeah.
Not all henchmen look the same, Chris.
In this world, they do.
I know they do.
I think, actually, two of the guys have almost the exact same design, too.
Oh,
like,
they all have...
Like the newsboy cap and like the same bow tie.
Yeah.
At least one guy has red hair. The other two guys, I think they're identical.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in last week's episode, I don't think we talked about this while recording, but the henchmen weren't given names; they were given colors because Bruce Timm voiced Red, who I assume was the redheaded one.
Wait, whose henchmen were they again?
Was that
was it
Thorn?
Thorn? Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah,
yeah. And yeah, those henchmen look just like these henchmen.
They do. It's all the same.
Mm-hmm. But the question I wanted to pose to you.
Yeah.
So we've now seen in these past 2 weeks, we've seen the Doctor, Batman's Doctor. We've seen Batman's mechanic. Is there anyone else, kind of utility-wise, that you would want to see?
That's interesting.
Kind of pop up.
We know that Alfred is his seamstress. Seamster?
Yeah.
Tailor. Let's just call it that. I guess we don't know where his gadgets come from.
So I had written down weapons dealer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I get in the Nolan verse, we see him like hand carving the batarangs.
The batarangs, yeah. But I mean, he gets most of his stuff from Lucius and from Wayne Tech. Mm-hmm. But in this, Lucius doesn't know that he's Batman.
Right. And so that's why I was wondering weapons dealer.
Yeah.
Or the other one I'd written down was IT guy. Because I don't know if Alfred knows how to program the Bat computer.
He's pretty universal, but I feel like that might be one area where he's a little over his head. I mean, we've always wondered, though, like, who built the Batcave?
Yeah,
right?
and then the last one I'd written down was contractor. But from our theories, we just assume that it's Alfred setting everything up. So Bruce
can go down there and dig everything out by himself.
Yeah, so Bruce can have a good time.
He's out there being a fake playboy and driving around in broken down Batmobiles.
Yep.
Yeah, I think actually you raise a good point. Bruce would probably have to have like a black market arms dealer, right? Because not for nefarious purposes, but he has lots of explosives and like chemicals and things that are not going to be commonly found.
But to be fair, Gotham has a dozen chemical plants.
That's true,
that Wayne Tech probably owns part of.
Yeah.
So he can just go and get what he wants.
And we do see that Wayne Tech makes some really strange decisions sometimes in terms of like what sort of things they develop.
Which we see in the next episode.
See the next episode, yeah.
Also called Iron Man.
Yeah, God, exactly right. Yeah, I'm trying to think who else. Plumber.
That's probably Alfred.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah. Poor Alfred. He has such the shitty end of the stick.
Do you think Alfred has to like go down and like scrub barnacles off the bottom of the Batboat and stuff too?
Probably.
Do you think Batman then has also an airplane mechanic or like a mechanic for his jet?
Well, wasn't Alfred in some kind of British Air Force?
Well, I mean, you could be an Air Force pilot from like World War II. That does not necessarily mean you know how to operate a state-of-the-art jet fighter.
Yeah, maybe he has a mechanic for that too.
So many unexplored stories here on the weird web of
Bruce
Batman
Timm,
support.
Jump back into these stories.
Bring us more.
We need to know who fixes the Batplane, who makes the various magically powered bat gliders.
Yeah. Alfred's out there just like hand stitching them.
Yep.
Himself. Poor Alfred.
God.
Oh, such a rough life the guy lives. It's fine. He gets like probably 1 week of vacation a year.
If
the
no,
whole-
we,
the
we
whole
saw
cave
the
goes
we
to
saw
shit.
the episode where he goes on vacation and he doesn't want to go.
Oh, that's true. He hates vacation.
Yeah.
That's true. This version of Alfred hates vacation. Clearly, the Michael Caine version loves vacation.
Yeah, he can't wait for Bruce to die.
Yeah. He's gonna go tour around Italy and just sip on his espressos.
Yep.
Any other thoughts on this guy?
I wrote down something. Is this the first appearance of Percival, the Penguin's vulture?
Oh, I don't. I mean, there was a vulture in I've Got Batman in My Basement, but was it named Percival? I don't know.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
because
but-
that's a pretty reoccurring. I don't know. I don't remember if this world is recurring, but I remember the Batman. I think he has a recurring vulture named Percival.
Did he?
I'm pretty sure. In one of the series he does, because that name sticks out pretty strong,
Sorry, I'm trying to look it up here.
especially from someone who's still reading Ready Player One.
I have finished Ready Player One.
About fucking time.
I finished.
All right, we're gonna pause this podcast for a second.
I finished it earlier this week.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I finished on like Tuesday.
We have a lot to talk about.
I think we do. Yeah, we have so much to talk about. Okay, so I think we'll go ahead and cut here. We'll throw in our promo. This week it's for Rachel and Sam read a story.
And
Which is
there's a special guest in that episode.
Yeah,
you.
Exactly. So obviously we've had Sam on here before, talk about Almost Get 'Em. I was on their podcast for the Sesquicentennial, their 150th episode. I was a guest on that. Super, super fun. Just basically what they do is the two of them sit down and read a story. Rachel's a librarian, so she brings in a whole bunch of kids' books. They pick one, they read it out loud, they talk about it. It's fun to listen to, and I had so much fun being on it. So I will not only link their show, I will link my episode too, just to get an extra plug, because I control these things.
Do you remember reading children's books?
I do.
The picture books that had all the nice pictures and also a story?
Oh yeah, they were always so nice and fun.
Were they?
I don't know, I don't remember.
Well, if you want to remember, you should probably listen to our podcast.
What's our podcast?
Our podcast is Rachel and Sam Read a Story.
Sounds super nice and friendly all the time.
All the time. I'm Rachel Bieber.
And I'm Sam Gash.
And we are the people who do Rachel and Sam Read a Story.
On Mondays on the Nerdist School Network.
But anyways, yeah, that was the promo for it.
That was a great promo.
It was fantastic. So now we're on to our second Penguin episode here, where, as we're talking about, Wayne Tech makes some very suspect decisions about what they even spend their money on.
Also, quick fun fact about this episode. This would have been my birthday episode.
Really?
It's pretty close. It came out February 21st, 1993.
Oh,
which is
my
3 days after I was
God.
born.
So I'm just laughing at the fact that we finally hit the episode where you are now alive. In the-
Yes,
in the
I'm
real
finally
world.
alive to watch Batman. Unfortunately, my parents did not let me yet. Instead, I would sneak downstairs and watch
when you were
Space
three days old, they weren't letting you watch.
They weren't. But I do have plenty of stories when my parents would find me watching Space Ghost Coast to Coast when I was still a toddler and didn't even know how to talk yet.
It wasn't even that appropriate, was it?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It was never appropriate.
But I mean, sorry, it wasn't that inappropriate, right?
Well, it wasn't the.
Well, it wasn't Space
wasn't-
Ghost. I know. I mean,
yeah.
it was the talk show, but I don't. It wasn't that blue, right? The humor in it. It was pretty.
I think it was pretty adult
Yeah.
humor.
Also, who uses the phrase blue when referring to humor anymore?
You.
God, I'm so old.
It's fine. I'm now three days old.
That's what you're not.
Yeah.
God.
So this episode opens up the exact same way as Iron Man starts.
Yep.
They're doing a tech demo for the military for this new helicopter.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. It's basically if you've seen Goldeneye, it's basically like the Tiger helicopter from that.
It's called the Raven X-111.
Okay.
Also referred to as a Graybird. And I don't know if that was the kind of helicopter it was.
No, I mean that's not a normal helicopter right there.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah, it didn't look like a normal helicopter.
Yeah.
But there are three things that I feel like Gotham has to learn at this point to never do.
Okay.
Main one, close and remove all amusement parks,
Yep.
all House of Mirrors, all clown stores, all clown schools, all party shops.
Any place the jury or the Joker would scurry to.
Right. Get rid of those. Second thing, get rid of anything that has the number 2 in it.
Yep.
Pretty easy. Just replace it with a 1 or 3 or 12.
Yeah.
Easy fix. Third thing, never name anything a bird name. Because obviously Penguin is going to go after it.
Of course, much less something that has incredible destructive firepower.
Right.
Like this helicopter. And this started out, and I'm like, why would Wayne Tech be supporting this, and Bruce even makes comments like, "Oh, I don't know how I feel about like designing weapon systems." Then why the fuck are you designing weapon systems?
So there was an interview with the director of this episode. I already forgot his name.
Who was it? Altieri did the first one, but who did this one?
Dan Reba.
Oh, okay, yeah, Dan Reba does a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah, there was an interview with him, and the original story for this was Blind as a Bat was supposed to be a dual meaning, and this was Bruce realizing that he doesn't know everything that's happening at Wayne Tech. This was him, like, he didn't...
Oh, that would have been interesting.
Right, like, you know, he was blind to what's happening at his own company, so he didn't know they had this huge military branch that was... that was making these things.
See, that helps explain why all this stuff is here. Because my biggest problem with the story is I felt like it should have been a street level crime, sort of thing. Like, because I mean, obviously Bruce gets blinded when the Penguin steals a helicopter and like an attack. And for me, I wanted to see like, well, like how does he try and function as Batman, doing if you will the kind of more mundane things? Like, how does he be a detective? How does he navigate the city when he's blind? And I think that would have been so interesting. I kept thinking, why the hell are we dealing with all this ridiculous...
You weren't a fan of the makeshift Virtual Boy?
No, I didn't care for any of this stuff. I was also wondering the entire time, where the fuck is Robin?
Yeah, that was my big...
It's like, this seems like a really obvious... Like, because then he could at least have someone there guiding him around and be, like, supportive. But, yeah, I was like, why... I wanted to see him try and, like, have to solve crimes and, like, you know, hunt people down and do all those normal things, interrogate someone when he's blind. That would have been so much more interesting than I'm just going to strap this radar thing to my skull and...
He gives me these cool glowing red eyes.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to hop in a plane, because that's what blind people should be driving.
I know. It's like, why the fuck is he flying the Batwing? He can barely walk.
Yeah.
I don't... Ugh. So frustrating, man.
Yeah. So, if you haven't figured out, Batman goes blind.
Yeah.
Penguin... hijacks the tech demo, steals the Raven X-111.
Yeah, which has a silent running mode and some sort of advanced sonar radar combination thing.
Yeah. And it can detect, it scans and kind of visualizes in a zero light field. It's kind of what I understood from it.
Yeah, it basically, it kind of looks like it's kind of night vision, but you're not seeing distinct... You can't like recognize someone's face. It's all shapes, more or less. It kind of gives you a visual sense of space.
Yeah. So there's like a big explosion. Bruce goes blind temporarily.
It's such a dramatic read on that line too, because he's like, "Don't take me to the Wayne Tech doctor." He's like, "Why not?"
I don't want them to know that I've gone. No, I can't see.
Yeah, and it's so dramatic. God, I absolutely love it. And then Leslie's like, okay, like, you know, gotta have these bandages over your eyes. You can't take them off it's temporary. You can't take them off for like 36 hours. But of course, he's got to go keep Batmaning. Mm-hmm. But even his solution is really quick.
Yeah, he kind of takes the tech from the plane, or from the helicopter, and puts it into a Virtual Boy-esque device.
Yeah. What's Virtual Boy?
It was Nintendo's failed VR system from the late 80s, early 90s. It was like this big red helmet that I don't even know if it made it to America.
Did they reference that in Ready Player One?
Yes.
Okay.
at some point. I
wouldn't have recognized the reference, I suppose. But you've listened to it like 4 times, so you should know these things.
So good. He basically has a helmet that scans his surroundings and gives him a kind of, like you said, an outline of what is around him.
You can see what's around him and where it is.
Yeah. And the way he tests it is doing a full gymnastics routine, which I loved.
In the middle of Batcave.
Yeah, because it's his workout equipment. That's fine.
Yeah.
Because that's what I would do to test my sight, is see if I can do a not pole vaulting, do the vault.
Yeah, vaulting like on a balance beam?
No, the pommel horse.
Pommel horse, thank you.
Yeah.
Got it.
Did gymnastics when I was 3 years old.
You did?
I did.
Oh, I guess it makes sense. You made you do cheerleading too.
Not since I was 3. When I was 3.
Yeah, I know. But,
Yeah.
you know, eventually you did cheerleading, so that can all make sense.
Yeah. I mean, kind of. I did a cartwheel.
Yeah. If there was, like, one athletic pursuit I wish I had tried out, it would have been gymnastics, actually.
It was from memory. I mean, I did it a little bit in high school, and it was fun. It was scary. It was had very mean coaches.
Oh, okay. Mean Russian coaches?
They weren't Russian.
I would just assume all gymnastic coaches are Russian.
No, he was just. I'll tell you about it after the podcast.
Get jacked for a gymnast, man.
So yeah, he has this helmet. So he gets in the bat plane to chase the silent helicopter, which kind of ruins the silence because it has these 4 loud machine guns.
Yeah.
They're like, what I thought it should have just been a recon helicopter, but of course not.
And it's massive. You can see it, right?
Yeah.
It stands out. It's like a fucking dirigible sized helicopter. So yeah, I don't really get the whole point of the silent thing. I guess if it's...
they even talk about that because there's a scene where it's these teenagers driving down a bridge.
Oh yeah,
and they look up like, "What is that? I can't hear it," but they can very easily still
it's
see
a goddamn helicopter. Like I don't. Yeah.
Maybe it's for like, because it can also like avoid radar. I guess
yeah, they
one
kind of
its big
implied that.
things.
Yeah,
so
I
I guess it's supposed to just be like to stealth around where the people are inside.
Yeah, if you don't have eyes,
Yeah,
it's a great stealth
it's
helicopter.
great for when they're going after the school for the blind.
It's so dumb. But yeah, so Batman takes off after the Bat-Wing, and I think that's a decent kind of aerial dogfight sort of scene between the two, between the helicopter and the Bat-Wing. It's short, but it's kind of cool. And of course, the Bat-Wing gets. No, sorry. The helicopter goes down first, and they damage the Bat-Wing, and it zips around the sky and eventually crashes. And in doing so, Batman, his helmet starts to go on the fritz.
Yeah.
And so now, finally, at the end of the episode, we get what you think the whole episode is going to be about, which is Batman trying to be Batman without his sight. And they don't even really do much with it then.
No, there were 2 big things that stood out for me in this kind of post aerial chase. One, this is the first time in the series from memory that someone has ever run out of bullets. Penguin's gun runs out of
that's
bullets.
right. Because Batman's
first
just hanging
time
there
ever,
and the Penguin goes to shoot him, and it's just like click, click, click. Oh no.
Yep. And 2, as the world's greatest detective, I'm so glad his solution to the helmet fritzing out is exactly what everyone else would do. It's just hit it until it works again.
Concussive maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that that's the solution for even like the world's smartest and richest man.
Yeah. Just whack the...
Just smack it until it works.
Yeah, he's basically like stumbling around, just like slapping his own head, which I kind of wanted to have a moment where.
Yeah, Penguin like calls it out.
Because they look at him weird. Well, Penguin looks at him weird because he's stumbling around, and the Penguin figures out he's blind. But how great would that be if they're all standing there like, what the fuck is he doing? Is he's just like,
I think we like broke Batman.
yeah, I think he might have finally.
I think
gone crazy.
We should probably
like,
just go.
Should we just leave? Should we just leave him do his thing? Yeah, because they end up in a like I don't know some sort of like metal smelting factory or something like that. Cool location for a fight. Again, you kind of get the feeling like, oh, this might be like an interesting place where Batman's trying to kind of navigate through, but it's a weirdly shaped structure, and there's all these things going on, all these weird sounds. Like we'd seen that he had amazing senses in the Vertigo episode. He can like close his eyes and get through it.
Right.
I kind of thought that was going to come back.
I was really
into play.
hoping it would. Yeah.
Yeah, and it never really does. Penguin figures out he's blind, and they kind of get in a tussle, and the Penguin runs off, and then Batman follows him to the end of a catwalk over a molten metal flow, and Batman jumps up and grabs onto a pipe, and we think he's crying, which is weird, and then we realize there's water dripping on his face, and so he turns on the water and think, okay, cool, he's gonna steam up the place and put them on an equal footing, so the Penguin also won't be able to see. But no, he just jumps down and knocks him out. And I was like, what? You set this whole thing up. It didn't do anything with it.
Right.
I didn't like this episode, man. It frustrated me. It really frustrated me.
Me too.
Then again, it was also written by Len Wein, so what should we expect?
It was pretty, though. I don't remember who animated this episode, but I think
know.
they did a pretty good job with the animation, especially compared to Akon.
Especially compared to Akon, yeah. Well, and again, because it was the exact same batch of characters, so you could really see the difference. And the animation was really solid on this. It did look great. I got so... It's such a great idea. And again, like something you can only do in an animated show like this. Have Batman go blind. How does he deal with it? And it kind of sidestepped all of that. Mm-hmm. And it just felt like... It's the same reason why I get frustrated when like the DC movies are bad too, because you're like, you see the potential for a good story there, and the rest of it's all shit.
Right.
You're like, well, now it's a ruined opportunity for that particular story to be done. That's kind of how I felt about this.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's not a... You might know the answer to this. It's not a big like comic book movie, but there was an indie film, I want to say in the early 2000s, where the character either goes... I think the movie is the character goes deaf like 2/3 into the movie, and the rest of the movie is silent. because you're supposed to experience the movie as the character.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I remember my film teacher talking to me about this years ago. There was one of that, and then I think there's one in the early 80s where it is this storyline where someone goes blind, and then the rest of the movie is pitch black, where you just hear everything.
Oh, that's bizarre.
But I think it's only like the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Okay. For a second there, I thought you were going to reference Once Upon a Time in Mexico when Johnny Depp's character goes blind and he has to learn how to shoot.
Nope, never seen it.
It's actually pretty solid. It's Rob Rodriguez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like good Rob Rodriguez. So,
Okay, I'll see that.
it's worth checking out. But yeah,
We'll put it above Big Fat Liar on our list.
okay. We should have been like tracking all the movie references we make. There's too many to do at this point, but like come up with like a definitive list.
I'm sure we can. We only have 29 episodes.
Oh, but you know who's gonna have to do all that research?
You.
No. I'll just get extra Manny with the artwork to balance it out.
That's fine.
But yeah, I don't know. I went in hoping this was going to be like almost kind of like the Samurai episodes too, where like Bruce is challenged something unexpected and we get like a cool arc for him, and it never did it.
The very last scene, like, I don't know if I was just like tired when watching the scene, but it's he gets the bandages removed, he holds up the newspaper, and his pant color is the exact same, almost the exact same tone as his flesh color.
Really?
And so they're panning up. I'm like, is he not wearing pants? He just has like his shirt, and his shirt like covers, like it just goes over,
Covers his junk.
Yeah, it's like it covers like mid thigh, and I'm like, is Batman wearing pants? I mean, like he's with his doctor and his butler, so it wouldn't surprise me if he's not.
Yeah, you know he totally just walks around naked with Alfred's there, but you'd think at least for Leslie he had a little bit of decorum.
Yeah. And like they do a jump cut of like you see the whole thing, and there's like there's the line on the pocket. I'm like, okay,
good.
He's wearing pants.
Come on, Bruce, get your shit together. I get you can't see yourself, but other people can see you.
Right. I mean, when he's not in the bat suit, I guess whatever he's wearing just makes him feel naked.
That's true. Yeah. Do you think he ever sleeps in the bat suit?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. But I hope it's like the Ra's al Ghul episode where it's not the suit, it's just the
cowl, the shirts off and the pants.
Yeah. It's the cowl and pajama pants.
That is both his Desert Sword combat mode, also his nighttime mode.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like when we see it in Lego Batman.
Yo.
The cowl and the robe.
Yeah, the cowl, or just with like the cowl and like the bat speedo.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Yeah.
I hope he does that too.
I'm sure. I'm sure Alfred has to be like, Master Wayne.
Yeah.
You need to take it off.
I would love to see that done in live action. I still really want to see at some point the live action version of the cowl and no shirt look.
Oh yeah,
it'll look
great.
So stupid.
Well, I mean, now that we have a cowl that he can actually turn his head.
Yeah.
Because I'm imagining it as the Clooney cowl.
Oh my God!
It's like
yes.
Neck and like upper shoulder.
Oh God.
And then shirtless.
It'd be so good. Just turning all the way. Hey, don't put it past the current DCEU to do it. If anyone was going to do it, it would probably be them. Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else to talk about on this episode?
I think we covered it all. There are two kind of mediocre Penguin episodes.
Yeah, but it's fine because we have a solid string coming up. I mean, Harley and Ivy, Batgirl, and then Ra's al Ghul. So the next 3 episodes are the chunks of episodes I'm super, super excited about.
Yeah.
But until then, we have our bat plugs.
The most important part of this episode.
I know what yours is going to be, so I'm going to get through mine real quick. I did, in fact, finish Ready Player One.
So happy for you.
I loved it. I won't say what happens in the end.
So
but,
good.
Like, the climax, I was, like, huge fucking grin the entire time. It's awesome. I don't know what they're going to do in the movie, but if it's close to what's in the book, I'm so excited for it.
Do you remember what studio is producing it? Is it a Warner Brothers film?
I don't know who's producing it. I mean, I know Spielberg's directing it.
Yeah.
I don't know which studio is behind it. Because, one of the challenges they're going to have is just getting rights to everything.
Yeah.
I feel like what they may end up doing, it's tough because what they might end up doing is just doing generic versions, like a lot of things that are referenced, which will still look cool. But the problem is part of the whole thing of the movie, or the book, is that it's all specific references, that it's all...
Yeah, but at the same time... Spielberg is the reason that we were able to get Bugs and Mickey in a movie together.
Well, but I mean, that was also in the 80s.
I know.
I mean,
He probably doesn't have the same level of power.
Okay, yeah. So it's produced through Amblin, and then it is going to be Warner Brothers.
Okay.
So
they can get a couple.
they can get some
get a
stuff
bit.
in there.
They got all the rom-coms, all the rom-com references.
Right. So
I think
did
Warner Brothers did War Games.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's because there's some very specific things.
Spoiler
It's like,
alert, by the way. I'm not going to say what it's for, but
yeah, but it'll be interesting to see how they get around some of these like really very specific references. But no, I love that. I did finally finish the Injustice Gods Amongst Us comic.
awesome.
Which is pretty solid. I mean, the ending's kind of flat, but at the same time, it is a prequel to the game, so you can't really expect like resolution. And I think that there's another series that retells the plot of the game from Harley's perspective, so I might check that out.
Oh, cool.
And then my last bat plug is I keep forgetting to mention it. I've been watching the show Big Little Lies on HBO. It's the one with Nicole Kidman and Reese Witherspoon, Shailene Woodley. There's been posters for it all over LA. It's awesome. Like, it's really, really good. I'm a little biased because it's set in like Carmel, Big Sur, Monterey, which is near where I grew up. So like they go places that I used to hang out at all the time. So it's cool to watch. But like the performances in it are great, and the acting is acting's amazing. Direct, it's music, and it's awesome too. So if you have HBO or you just don't give a shit about not having access to things, I do highly recommend it. I think there may be 7 episodes total, and we're like 5 in.
Cool. I'll check it out.
It's really, really good. So those are my plugs, and I know what yours is, which would also be one of my other plugs.
So we saw Power Rangers this week. It was Chris. You can back me up on this.
Yeah,
it was good.
It was good. Like we were joking going in that we were excited to see what kind of bad it was going to be.
Yeah,
and I think the first thing I said to you after the movie ended was we were wrong.
We were really wrong. It was so enjoyable.
Yeah,
and like I'm biased because I did spend the past 14 days watching Power Rangers, but it snuck in all the references that you wanted in like a very fun way.
Oh my God,
you got. I mean, it's obviously a little more serious because that's how all the movies are right now.
But it's not. I was expecting, as I put it to someone, like Zack Snyder level of just po-face seriousness based off of the trailers. Mm-hmm. Like I was expecting this to be in the Batman v Superman Suicide Squad kind of camp, where it's just like taking what is an inherently ridiculous premise and being way too serious with it. It's not that at all. Mm-hmm. Like even before they suit up, which as you can kind of expect is not till the end, it's still fun.
Yeah,
all the way through. Like it's legitimately funny. Like it kind of lets itself be fun and entertaining and a little silly and a little winky.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Banks, she had
you could tell how much fun she had just like playing Rita.
Yeah.
Because she owns the character. She owns the crazy. Rita's great. They easily set it up for a sequel. So please, to our dozen people that listen, go watch it because I would love a sequel.
Yeah. It's actually doing pretty well.
Good.
So Beauty and the Beast is winning this weekend with like 88 million. So it's second week in a row.
Yeah.
But Power Rangers is pulling in, I think, close to 50, which so I think it's.
Has it opened internationally already? Because I'm sure it's going to have a big Japanese or a big Asian pull.
That's a good question. I'm not sure if it's completely international or not. But it's good.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I was also very worried because I wasn't a huge fan of the suits, and I'm still not a huge fan of the suits. But
they work though.
Yeah,
I will say that they actually do work in the context. Mm-hmm. I was actually looking at an infographic today that went through and like talked about every versions of the suits. They get real dumb.
Oh, I've been watching it for the past 14 days.
Oh my God, I know. They get really, really stupid at a certain point.
Yeah.
I think I was kind of skeptical just because it's like, it's where it's going to be a little too Green Lantern sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But no, like they feel right in that world.
Yeah.
I guess. What do you think of the Zords?
I was happy with the Zords. I mean, you couldn't really tell outside of the Tyrannosaurus and the not Aerodactyl, Pterodactyl. You couldn't really tell what they were because they were kind of just blobs of tech.
Yeah.
Because like I wasn't a big fan of the Mastodon.
No, I think that the T-Rex and the Sabretooth and the Pterodactyl looked pretty cool. But yeah, the Mastodon and the Triceratops, they were just kind of blobs. They're
Yeah.
hard to distinguish. But I really like the T-Rex design, actually.
My big complaint, which isn't really a complaint, it's more of just a personal choice. I wasn't a big fan of the putties.
No.
I liked the animation of how they would spawn. For the people who don't watch Power Rangers, the putties are like the base level henchmen that Rita can summon, and in the trailers, it's the big rock creatures.
Yeah, they're
I don't know if that's
kind
what
of
it was,
generic.
Yeah, I don't know if that was what it was supposed to be in the original Mighty Morphin series, but I mean, obviously they weren't going to be humans in suits.
No.
But I don't know. It's not what I was expecting. I don't know what I would want it to be, so I feel like I can't complain about it too much. But it's just not kind of what I wanted.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out if it's been released in China yet or not. I can't tell. But it seems like it's a simultaneous universal, like, worldwide release. It looks like it's going to hit some of the European markets in April, and then Japan in not until July. It's going to hit Japan.
Oh, wow.
I think you should. Well, actually, do you think it'll do well in Japan? Because though, I mean, the original was obviously so ingrained in. I mean, they're based off of. They just use existing footage from Japanese shows. Do you think that this has been so modernized and Americanized, it'll still have the same kind of appeal?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't speak for them. I have no idea.
Yeah. I suspect it's going to do well enough. Also, one thing to consider too, that it's distributed by Lionsgate, who they're really trying to position themselves as being more like the next big studio. Like, I'd say they're at the top of like the B-level studio.
I would say so.
Structure. And so Hunger Games is huge for them. That's why we got fucking 4 Hunger Games movies instead of 3, the way it should be. But that's done. And so I think they're pretty desperate for something to kind of keep them going. And I think this will end up doing well enough to warrant a sequel. I legitimately really hope so. Because I really liked it.
Me too. So I have a kind of serious question for you. Do you think we've moved into the next kind of film, not peak, but peak genre? Because I've had a couple talks with people about the superhero bubble and how I think it's going to pop soon.
Yeah.
Just because DC is kind of ruining it, but at the same time, like, the market's getting so flooded. We almost have one a month.
Yeah. I think we're getting there. I think we do. I mean, so, and I guess the way I would put it, the only ones keeping it afloat at this point are Marvel.
Right.
And I think even then, even I'm starting to get a little bit of fatigue on it, right? I mean, like, I
think after Infinity War, I think that's when it's going to pop.
I think so, yeah. Because people will still go through to see Infinity War. And I really believe that DC is actually doing a lot of work to hurt the genre overall, just because they're trying to catch up, they're rushing, they're not putting out good content. I mean, we know now that the Batman's gotten delayed beyond 2018. Aquaman got pushed later, so they were going to only have one release, and now they're like, oh, let's fast track something else to make it out by next year. And you're like, well, it's just going to be garbage. Like, nothing's ready to be made. You know, they're taking their time with Batman because they kind of have to. I think we're going to get to the point where it's going to burst pretty soon.
Okay.
Yeah, just because I think there was that. I was actually thinking about this today. I think there was like that sweet spot for a while there where comic book movies weren't huge yet, so studios would take risks on them and give them to like really interesting directors and creatives to kind of have their own take on it. That's what happened with Nolan, right? And all of a sudden now they're kind of guaranteed money, and so it's just make as many of them as absolutely possible. Yeah. And I think in doing so, you're not getting necessarily like people with a specific vision behind it. They're just appointing directors to projects to make them work. I mean, a rumor we didn't talk about was that David Goyer might be directing Green Lantern Corps.
Okay.
And look, I like Goyer. He's a good writer. I like Blade Trinity, although it was kind of a mess, but that's not necessarily his fault.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is great in it. But again, it's like I'm not interested in that. Like, if I was interested in Martin Campbell when Green Lantern came out, it kind of sucked. But it's like someone like James Gunn has done such a great job with Guardians because he's like very distinct to the property and has done his own thing. And Marvel still lets people do that. Yeah. So I think Marvel will keep it going. We'll kind of drag it along, but yeah, I think it's going to burst. Are you worried that like it's going to burst before we get enough Power Rangers movies?
No. I think Power Rangers might be moving into the next genre. So superhero films, I think they did take risks because that was the end of the like mythical creatures bubble is what I'm gonna, because there's a couple of them, but I mean it was mainly the vampire bubble.
Okay, yeah.
We had so many, and then on top of that, we right at the end of that is when we got into the fairy tale bubble. They just kind of, I think, helped make it pop faster. Since we had Hansel and Gretel come out, and then the first of the Huntsman movies, and then the other Mirror movie, which no one talks about anymore for good reason.
Yeah.
Those movies kind of popped, and then the superhero genre took off so fast. And now I think with Godzilla last year, 2 years ago,
2014, I think was Godzilla.
Was it really?
I think it was all the way back to 2014.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whatever. Godzilla in the past, Pacific Rim, Pacific Rim 2 coming out at the end of this year, I think, or early next year.
I think so, yeah.
And Kong, and now Power Rangers. I think we're entering this now like giant / mecha bubble, especially with how CGI is going right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can kind of see that. I mean, because we got Kong. We're gonna get
and Kong obviously open. You haven't seen Kong yet, right?
I have, yeah.
Oh, so the ending they obviously open up for
crossover with Godzilla. Yeah, because you're getting Godzilla 2 first, and then we're getting Kong versus Godzilla.
And then they set up Mothra and everyone else.
I mean, I really enjoyed Kong. And I liked Godzilla. I think I enjoyed Kong more than I did a Godzilla.
Yeah, same.
It was just kind of more fun. Maybe, but I don't know if Power Rangers falls into that big mech monster category. I mean, it can. In a later one, maybe there'll be more of that. But I mean, the way they skewed this one was much more like an interpersonal.
Yeah, but because
like
we needed to know the characters first.
Yeah.
It's the same in the very first episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Okay, I really haven't seen it in a long time. I actually think that they handled even that stuff pretty well. There's some like kind of not necessarily stereotypes, but like they take some quick routes on some of the characters, like quick explanations for why they're teens with attitude.
But they never say attitude.
They never say attitude.
Sorry, that's my biggest complaint with the movie. They never say attitude because these teens have a lot of attitude.
I would say they have more angst.
Oh, yeah.
Than attitude. I think, kind of shortcuts taken to explain why they have angst sometimes. But overall, I think it played pretty well.
Yeah.
I think their team dynamic is pretty solid. Acting, for the most part, actually better than you'd expect it to be, given that it's Power Rangers.
So my scale, we'll end the Power Rangers talk after this. Where I was expecting it to fall was Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. That was my expectation. It's the lowest of the Fast and Furious films.
Oof.
But it's also my favorite Fast and Furious movie.
Well, that makes sense.
But I think it was better on so many different levels.
Yeah.
Not just because it was like a better, but like it's just a good. It was so much fun. I don't know where I'd put it in like the movie spectrum. I haven't thought about it yet.
I was describing it to someone as I would put it closer to like a decent-ish Marvel movie than say like a.
Would you put it above Thor 2?
They're kind of
because that Thor 2 is the bottom of my Marvel list.
Really, I like Thor 2. Well,
or Iron Man. It's like that and Iron Man 3 are kind of at the bottom.
Yeah, I like Iron Man 3. It's I don't even know where to put it.
Yeah, it's such a unique kind of spot because no one expected it to be good.
I think that was it. I think the low expectations helped. I guess what I've been trying to tell people is like, if you expect it, it's kind of dumb, but it lets itself be fun in its kind of dumbness. But I never like felt like I never want to cringe at any point. I'm never like, ugh, really? Right.
They even I'm gonna spoil 10 seconds of it because it was amazing.
Oh yeah.
They even squeeze in the theme song.
Yeah.
They get in the Go-Go Power Rangers and they squeeze in the song.
It works, and it works
so great. It was so brief that like you could miss it.
Yeah,
but it was so wonderful for if you do catch it.
Yeah, so it's a 46 on Rotten Tomatoes. I'd say it's better than that for me.
I would say low 60s.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun. We do recommend. In case you couldn't tell.
Yeah, it's not just me talking about bad movies.
We recommend seeing it. Yeah, that's true. We'll call it the voice of taste, of good taste when it comes to movies. Is still recommending you go see it. But yeah, do go check that one out. So hopefully we get another one.
Yeah,
gotta get that Green Ranger.
God, I want Tommy in it so badly.
I know
they tease it so hard, and it's so frustrating.
Rumor that there might be a female Green Power Ranger. Tommy might be a girl.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
I'd be totally cool with that.
But Kimberly's supposed to have a relationship with them. I don't know. It's their own world. They can do whatever they want.
Can do whatever they want. It'd be right.
They even have the Zeo Crystal, which means they can jump into Power Rangers Zeo whenever they want.
Oh, is that what that was?
Zeo Crystal, yeah, is the power essence of the Zeo Rangers from 2 series after, because it's Mighty Morphin, and then there's 10 episodes of Alien that no one really talks about because it's not great, and then it goes into Power Rangers Zeo when Tommy becomes the Red Ranger.
Oh, okay. Whoosh.
Yeah.
It's way beyond my remembrance. Memory?
It's one of my favorite theme songs. That's why I like it.
But, yeah, so go check it out. There's a lot of good stuff. Go check out Kong, too. That was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Big
Beauty
Little
and the
Lies.
Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. So good. So many good things right now. It's a nice time for movies, guys.
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff to see. So, and I think that basically does it for us, though.
Yeah.
We got ourselves a good, 15 minutes of Power Rangers talk in there.
It's all
I delivered
wanted.
on that long bat plug. So, but yeah, we'll be back next week with Harley and Ivy with a guest. Very excited for that.
Mm-hmm. Also, for people that ever contact us, or that ever write to us, I would really like to know what you think the next bubble is going to be.
Oh,
I'm curious what other people think about that.
yeah. Maybe you should post that on Twitter too.
I don't have a Twitter.
Yeah, but you use our Twitter
I
account.
guess I can. Yeah.
Yeah, you have. I gave you the logins for the Timm Talk social media.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, but yeah. I am curious about that too. Actually, yeah. So send us tweets. I'll have to show them to Cameron because he doesn't understand technology.
Nope.
But until then, if you do want to reach out to us, we are obviously Timm Talk Pod on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. I am at Lordifer if you want to call me out for liking Power Rangers, but you should like it.
I'm at Cameron Dexter if you want to praise me for liking Power Rangers.
Sorry, you're what? You're
at God damn it! I was doing so well. I'm at Cameron.Dexter on Facebook and Instagram.
I just made my day with that.
And not Twitter, because Twitter is useless for me.
But until then, thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
The Nerdist School Network. For class and show information, visit nerdistschool.com.